My guys have done it again, introducing Coley AI. It's just as simple as you typing in something and the creation comes to life right before your eyes. And look, it's available to you right now. Click the link at the top line of the description box right now. This is the most amazing app ever. Try.
I want to. A lot of people were saying that this got started when he went after Diego Wine and Spirits, the company that was the
Do you know? Do you know who controls the liquor business? The federal government. They
Wow.
tobacco, alcohol. It's called TTB.
Okay.
They control it. Okay, you got to let's go back. I tell everybody, when you take on these cases and when you do what I do, the only way you're going to be successful is studying the history of anything.
Yeah.
I don't care what you get into, whether you have a podcast, you had to study the history of it to know if it was going to be successful and how to make it successful. Okay, so that's anything you go into. You got to go back to Prohibition, and you got to go back to Capone and how they were bootleggers. Okay, they were paying off the federal government because you're going across state line bringing alcohol. Alcohol travels across state lines. It travels internationally, right? So it's controlled by the federal government. Diageo has tentacles. Okay, you want to sue us civilly? We've been paying you $60 million a year, a proposed $60 million a year, and you want to sue us civilly? Our tentacles are much longer than you can ever imagine. And they said, well, no, okay, we brought Cassie out against him. There ain't enough. You know what we're about to do now? We're about to use our tentacles and reach over into the Justice Department. And if he was smart, he would have had done what Russell Simmons did. Sold everything, get out of New York, go to Bali, be his next door neighbor, and sell all your businesses. If he was smart, and I'm not saying he's not a smart guy, but sometimes society and the world builds these celebrities up. But at the end of the day, you got to always understand, and I'm not going to use the word on your show, I just use this word, you're always a no-grow.
Right.
Yes, sir.
You're always a no-grow.
Understood.
50 Cent, he said something about him. It's a 1 minute clip.
You have the experience with major corporations like me, my particular experience with Beam Centauri. It was great in the beginning. It's great for us to work for them. It is not so cool when you start to own things. You see what I'm saying? So I made a lot of money with them too. Like there's a point, they did a deal that mirrored what Puffy's deal with Diageo was for Ciroc. So he didn't have ownership of that at any point, but he was getting a lot of money, like almost like $60 million a year at one point. So you see him go to De Leon is when you see him have some issues. And these people have really strong relationships. Don't think that the civil case doesn't turn into a criminal case faster because he's making them uncomfortable. That's a big part of it. The spirits business it's not governed. They got a discus board that they created, right? If you got two companies that are $3 billion a year, and Beam Centauri and Diageo, the distribution level, it's very hard for you to get things to a point where you can do the right numbers. They incentivize the sales force by giving them box bonuses. And then when you sell a product, you get the bonuses off the boxes that's there. But you make that no matter what product you're selling. So if you sell Hennessy or Remy out the gate, they start to put downward pressure on the new companies.
Well, and that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, T is crazy.
I haven't even seen that clip. Same thing. It's like you got to do the research and know the history of how it works. Look, I've been involved with several of my friends. I got a friend who has a bourbon out right now, and we got it in all the liquor stores. I got another friend who has his own rum out. I have a family member. She's an investor in a vodka company. So it's around me, and I understand how the business works. It's just when the tentacles are so long, it's when you get out of pocket. And Diddy got out of pocket. And when I mean he got out of pocket, they don't want to see a no-grow accumulate planes and touting themselves as a billionaire. Now they have exposed where's the $1 billion. And I always say this, whether it was Mr. Cosby, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, these people are asset rich and cash poor.
Mm.
They have the assets, and the assets could be $2 billion with the assets.
Right.
But when charges like these come about, your assets are diminished in value. And they purposely bring these charges because that's what happened with Mr. Cosby. Look at his artwork. He could have a painting that's worth $100 million, but when the charges came out, the painting and artwork never supposed to depreciate. It's
Right.
supposed to always appreciate. But the paintings went down from $100 million. Some of them went down to like 10 million.
Wow.
We had people to come and tell us Mrs. Cosby was trying to liquidate things just to help fund, because after he was incarcerated, we lost AIG. We lost the insurance that was paying all the legal bills because it was to their benefit to supplement the criminal cases. So what they did with Diddy, once he settled with Cassie, his insurance company dropped it.
Wow.
So now you're seeing the real wealth. He only has the properties to put up. He couldn't go out and touch $50 million cash. He just put up properties.
Yeah. Mm.
Because the government is smart enough. Why would we let you bond out and offer us a bond of $50 million with your real estate when right now nobody probably wants your real estate because you're in all this trouble, and nobody probably wants to live in a house with all these freak offs, next door neighbors. Nobody probably wants this property. They devalued the property. They don't want that. They want the cash. And what they have done, they cut off his access, believe it or not, because the federal government has frozen his accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So how can he get money to defend himself? Now his attorneys, they got to hire another firm to come in and try to get those funds released so he can have the right to his counsel. No, they're going to tell him he got all these houses he offered, tell them to sell the homes. See, you have to be careful how you portray yourself to be. That's why you don't see, prime example, show me when you've ever seen Denzel Washington show off his homes and his lifestyle.
Never.
You never saw it. You
Nope.
never will. Because Denzel understands who he is. Have you ever seen Will Smith show off his home and cars? No. You just see him going from helicopter and private jet. He's not paying for that kind of stuff. People want him on their planes. They understand that Oprah. When have you ever seen Oprah plane? Have you seen Tyler Perry's plane?
Nope.
Because at the end of the day, as Mr. Cosby always said, that, hey man, I'm still a no-grow today.
You said something a couple minutes ago that caught my attention when you were talking about how people may have called Diddy and said, hey, delete that tape, delete that tape. Now, we've seen that the federal authorities have taken some of his recordings, his video, phone recordings of him talking to different artists, previous artists, whoever he may have had, trying to bribe him. Do they have those access to, would they have access to those type of tapes of people asking him to delete things if they were out? And if they do, what are they going to do with that?
I'm pretty sure his lines were tapped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they have access to all that. They're look, it's going to be a lot of bombshells dropped during the trial. And will we get to see a trial? I think the deck is stacked so heavy. You might see Diddy take a deal. And don't be surprised that R. Kelly might not be talking. Don't be surprised, okay? Prison is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
People brag about federal time. Well, you're on some type of resort. It all depends what federal prison they send you to.
Right.
But one thing about it, I tell everybody, hey man, spend all your money you got to stay on the ground, because as long as you're free, you can make money. You can't make money when you're free, because here's the problem. If he's found guilty, can you imagine the millions of dollars of restitution?
They're gonna break
And
it.
see, I still go back to Mr. Cosby. When they saw this last lawsuit come out against Diddy for $100 million, the government said, you know what? No, we got to get our piece of the pie. They're going to hold all of his money up. And because they know the circus is about to come to town. And they're collecting tickets. And the tickets is his financial means. And the government is like, no, they're shutting everything down because now they're going to take all of those people who are filing suits against him and they're going to integrate them into their prosecution to be witnesses against him. And they're probably telling those people, I tell you what, you know, he's found guilty. He's going to have to pay millions of dollars out in restitution. So you will see the houses, the planes, the boats, and I always remind people Diddy made the biggest mistake. And I think you guys might have seen it, and you might not. If you remember when he purchased the yacht, he had his staff lined up on the deck of the yacht, and they were all white people. And he said, look at me, a black man, got all these white people working and taking care of me, taking care of me. At the end of the day, white people don't like that. Who does this Negro think he is to say that we're working for him and we got to clean up after his freak off, his alleged freak off parties? We got a sex cleaning crew. Come on. And he's gonna degrade us like this. And if you go back and look at that video, if you can find it, look at the faces of all the people on the deckhands. Look into their eyes. It was so much anger there that this black man is saying, I got them taking care of me. So he pushed a lot of buttons. And I always believe, because I believe in us as a race.
Yes, sir.
I always believe that I don't care how wealthy we are, we're still black people. And we don't have the means and resources to run an enterprise of that nature.
My last question, and we definitely appreciate the 45 minutes you spent with us today.
Absolutely.
I think
man, anytime.
Yeah, the unseen hand, will be Jay-Z. We mentioned Jay-Z, Beyonce. We talked about this before. Jay-Z was cool with Diddy, man. They were doing those Rock Nation brunches together, talking about black excellence. It reminds me of the Frank Lucas American Gangster movie when he wore that mink coat and to put him on the radar. To me, that's what those Rock Nation brunches was. Like, this is the pinnacle. Like, we rich. We ain't got to do nothing for nobody. We black. And next thing you know, things come tumbling down. So what role does Jay-Z, if any, play in this? And will he be the next domino to fall?
Well, I think they're preparing. Let me go back and I always use Mr. Cosby because he was the one that it started with.
Right.
Okay, in 2014, the allegations came out around October, November of 2014. Okay, but early in the year, an article came out with Newsweek by Gawker that related Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, Woody Allen as rapists. He called me up. He was in Maine doing the show. And he said, I said, well, there's nothing to it. It's not going to go anywhere. Well, we had been on the phone with Sony Pictures for his new TV show that was coming out. And Diane Carroll was going to play his wife February 2015. But early in that year, they gave him, and you never heard of this award ever again, the Johnny Carson Award. He was the first one and last one to get it. Same thing with Diddy. He got VMA, Music of the Year. He comes out with the Love album. He gets the Key to the City. He gives $1 million to Howard University. He's all over the place. Well, they fattened a frog up for a snake. And he was the frog that they flattened up because the snake was waiting. We're going to give you all of these dead flowers that are never going to grow again. Rock Nation is an entity that exposes so much. But Jay-Z immediately distanced himself from Diddy. Immediately. It was within seconds. Jay-Z was no longer a friend of Diddy. And look what happened to Meek Mill. Meek Mill got dropped from Jay-Z's label immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So Jay-Z has shown us that he's not going backwards. Look, Jay-Z made a song, said God did, and talked about how he turned cocaine into champagne.
Yeah.
He ain't going backwards.
But let's look. But let's listen. But see who came to Jay-Z's aid when he made that and did a statement on his behalf. President Obama.
Uh-oh.
Go read President Obama's statement. That President Obama said, "Hey, this is my guy."
Yeah.
He's talking about what his life was and how you can change.